אז היי, good afternoon, צהריים טובים לכולם. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking the time to come and listen to a very important presentation. People ask me, why do we still need International Women's Day? I think we had this discussion, and I think I interrupted you at the beginning, and I said I wish we didn't need this day. So we're here to give you some information and advice and support in case you, your friends, or anyone you know needs it. I will start a little bit. I wanted to say, first of all, thank you to Jewish Women's Aid for reaching out to us, and thank you for Jenny for facilitating this connection. I really appreciate it. It's very important. As you know, some of you came from Meuchadot B'Mamlacha, from our group. Some of you came from other groups. If you're not part of Meuchadot B'Mamlacha, then no, and join us. But as you probably know, those who are in Meuchadot B'Mamlacha, that the main thing we are here is to advocate for women and to help you, all women who are here in the UK, to reach your, I don't know, full potential in terms of like financial stability and independence. And that comes with it's an holistic approach. It's not just that, it's also giving you the empowerment to do and take this step, because it's not easy for us as it's a hard word to say, immigrants, but we are immigrants in a way, to start fresh in a new country. So I'm really pleased to see so many faces. I just want to start with a really small on the basis of financial independence and International Women's Day. I just want to give a short announcement, or to put get your attention into something that I just did, I don't know, maybe an hour ago. I posted on is it okay if I share a screen? Can you open me to share something?
Can I just check? I'm not sure if it's our connection that's a bit unstable, or is it, can everyone hear Dana okay?
Yes, all good.
I think you've frozen.
Let me know if it's okay for me. Oh, yeah, it's okay for me to share. So
Hi, you just wanted, because I think we've got a bit of an unstable internet connection. Is it freezing? Are we freezing?
No, we're all good, Sam.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Yeah.
1 second. Trying to share the right screen. I thought I had it open, but I guess not. Give me 1 second. Google Chrome. Is that it? So I just wanted to share with you. Oh, this is why. So this is it. So I wanted to share with you that I just recently posted on why am I not? Can you see my share? Are we disconnected?
We can see you, Dana, but
It's not sharing. Okay, no, I don't know. I thought maybe the
okay, now you're sharing your WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Can you see this?
There we go.
The Google form?
Yes.
Okay. So I just put it on Facebook, on the Meuchadot B'Mamlacha Facebook group, about this event. The Israeli Forum in the UK, in London, I would say, got together to see how we can celebrate Independence Day, Yom Ha'atzmaut, together. And one of the ideas that came was to give some platform for our independent, our artists, anyone who have something to sell and they want to share with the world, to set up a stall and sell it to the crowd who's going to come over. We're expecting about 500 people to come. If you are selling, if you have books, if you have art, if you are, I don't know, create your own soaps or whatever it is, except for food. Unfortunately, we cannot sell food on the premises of JW3. You are more than welcome to fill in this form. I just posted on the Facebook group. It's okay to forward it to anyone else that you think might benefit from it. We are here to support the community, but I'm here to support mainly you, my women. So that's it for me, and I just want to put some attention into this. If you can like and post or comment so we get more traffic, or tag your friends if you think they're going to benefit from such an event. It's going to be a brilliant day, from the afternoon until late at night when they're closing JW3. But that's it for me. I'm going to shut up for now. And I'm going to say thank you to Sam and Annette, who are here and going to share with you a lot of really important information. I'll just introduce them, that Sam is the chief executive of JWA. and we have Annette, who is the advocacy service manager, and they will tell you all the important and lovely things that JWA does. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana, and thank you everyone for being with us. So I'm Sam, this is Annette. Really, thank you so much for being with us. It's really important. We're going to talk to you a bit about Jewish Women's Aid and our work. I'm going to put a trigger warning. It's really important to know that we're going to be talking about domestic abuse and sexual violence. If it feels too difficult to be here, please just turn off your screen, walk away, and we're here to support anyone who needs it. I will now share my screen and just talk you through. It's definitely not going to be death via PowerPoint, don't worry, but just want to make sure we can talk you through a few bits about our work. So yes, we're just going to talk through, first of all, just a bit about understanding a definition of domestic abuse. And we understand that actually in Israel, there's also not necessarily a definition of domestic abuse, but in the UK, domestic abuse is defined in law more than domestic violence. And just to talk a little bit about what that is. So domestic abuse in the UK is defined as controlling, coercive and threatening behaviour. For those over 16, and our work is very much focused on women and girls. And it's also important to acknowledge that domestic abuse is about immediate family members. It's not just about your intimate partner relationships, but within the kind of the wider nuclear family as well. So for us, domestic abuse presents as psychological, physical, sexual, economic, coercive control, emotional, spiritual, which for us is important. It's about weaponizing your religion against you. And in the Jewish community, that extreme versions of that is around get abuse. Cyber and tech abuse is also an area that is really growing and quite concerning. But all of these are areas that can affect women in terms of domestic abuse. And it's important to state that you might look at that and think about the different tick boxes. It's women will experience a range of those. It's not necessarily one. And again, abuse is very much around that power and control, and it is repeated over and over, and again is likely to escalate in severity over time. And what's important for you all to be aware is that a woman who is experiencing domestic abuse will likely take between 4 to 5 years from the first instance of domestic abuse to come forward and seek help. For a Jewish woman, we think that is significantly longer. These are some examples of abuse. And it's just important to recognise it, because I hope we have moved away from thinking it is just about a black eye, but there are all kinds of different ways that it can present, whether it is around pressure to engage in sexual activity, throwing or breaking possession. So it might be violence that's not necessarily directed at you, but is violence around you. Lying, blame, denial, gaslighting, which is a term which is everywhere, but which we see so much, like really trying to feel that the woman, the victim, does not really know where she's standing and what is going on for her. A lot about being followed and stalked. I know as a mum, it's amazing for me that I can have Life 360 on my son's phone, so I know where he is. But imagine if that ability to see where you are and know where you are is in the hands of someone who is abusive for you. We also see a lot of financial control and really kind of limiting the woman's financial abilities. So all of those are just some examples of how abuse can be seen. And just so, again, if anyone has any questions, just put them in the chat and we'll come on to them. But coercive control is when a person who behaves which makes you feel controlled, dependent, isolated or scared. We talk about it a bit about a constant drip, a constant dripping tap that is always there. And actually it's hard to kind of pinpoint exactly what it is, because it's constant, it's controlling, and it's a very, very scary place to be in. What is Jewish Women's Aid? So Jewish Women's Aid is the UK's only service for women and Jewish women and girls who are experiencing domestic abuse and sexual violence. We are 40 years old. Set up by pioneering women who in the 1980s recognised that domestic abuse happens within the Jewish community and set out to make sure that there was a specific service for Jewish women and girls. We support women and girls 16 plus in London. We can work with women as young as 14, and we also work with their children as well. And a good question, why do we need Jewish Women's Aid? The statistics about domestic abuse are really horrible. 1 woman in 4 will experience domestic abuse. 1 woman in 5 will experience rape or sexual assault. And we know that those statistics are very true for the Jewish community. We are no different, and this affects all Jewish women, regardless of denomination, affiliation, nationality. We see all kinds of Jewish women, and it affects regardless of age, education, class, lifestyle, or religion. And it's very important. And we sit within a wider sector in the UK that provides culturally specific support for women. So there's a Sikh Women's Aid, there's organisations working with Muslim women, travellers, all kinds of different services for all kinds of different women. Because actually the important thing to note is why we need Jewish Women's Aid is that a Jewish woman will do better in a service that understands her. And that is regardless of your religiosity. We just understand the cultural and religious significance of what you are going through. You don't need to explain to us some of the issues that you're experiencing. We will totally understand that. Okay, I'm going to hand over to my incredible colleague, Annette, who's going to talk through some of the additional obstacles and barriers that we have seen Israeli women facing.
Hi, everybody. It's really lovely to be here today. So just to follow on from everything that Sam has said, the Israeli women who we work with have additional barriers and obstacles. They face the challenges around living with the domestic abuse and sexual violence, like other women. Naming it, understanding it is the same. However, for some, and this is not all, but it is for a majority of our Israeli clients, often they will find they've got no right to work in the UK. They will come on tourist visas, being told that by their husbands, I'm doing your immigration, I'm doing your paperwork, don't worry, everything is fine. They will come on, different types of visas, one being a tourist visa, they go back and forth to Israel. For those women, they trust in their husband that their immigration is going to be, completed by him. Often it's used as another weapon and it doesn't happen. So therefore she becomes a woman that's got no access to public funds. That is an absolute nightmare for any woman. And again, it's that, I think when Sam talks about coercive and controlling behavior, lots of people, not just in the community or professionals, the depth of coercive and controlling behavior is huge. So you can imagine being fed, I've done your immigration, I've done your status, I've done all of this, don't worry, the paperwork's coming, all of that. Actually hasn't done anything. Then when we ask her the question, when she comes to us, she doesn't know what her visa is. She doesn't know actually where his passport is. She can't provide us with the information that we need before we can even understand what her immigration status is. So we've got layers and layers and layers because she's already been deceived. She's already been fed, incorrect information. Then it's another layer of devastation, because then with that, we have to talk about what comes by being a woman with no recourse to public funds, the challenges that she faces if she chooses to leave the relationship, the lengthy immigration process, the desperate need for help and support around that. It's really, really challenging. The information that she's got to gather quite sneakily, because she's got so much that she's got to evidence. With that means that there's no welfare safety net. She's not entitled to housing. She's not entitled to financial support. She's not entitled to anything that someone may just be able to access the minute they wanted to leave the relationship. So then we're on our third level of layers. Another one will then be language barrier. We have to help women understand what their rights are, what their options are, without scaring them, without making them feel anxious or worried about the decisions they make. We want to help them make informed decisions and take action of their life. However, for some Israeli women, it can be so overbearing, so overwhelming, it feels easier to stay in the relationship. And when Sam talks about some women staying longer within the Jewish community, that's a prime example of. And I understand why it feels easier to remain in a relationship than it is to leave. And she will have all these unanswered questions. The language barrier is absolutely huge. You know, we're very fortunate. We will ensure that we have interpreters available for everything that we do. But there's always a gap. There's a gap in that time before we can get the interpreter to when we can get her in. She might not be able to make it. If we use particular interpreting services, they might have one female Hebrew interpreter. The importance of her being able to access Jewish Women's Aid is that, you know, we will ensure that we will have that. If she uses another service, they're less likely to be able to provide that interpreter for her. And that's not just as in, you know, a conversation, but it's also about making sure it's in written, so that she's able to understand what her rights are. Lengthy court battles is absolutely huge, regardless of anything. Since COVID, the court cases have been delayed by 2 years in family court. If you imagine being a woman that's come to the UK, and this, you know, for some, they're told we're going to be here just for a few years, then we're going to go back to Israel. And that's okay. It's very scary. She's 21. But you know, this is the right thing for us. And everything changes when she's here. So she's faced with immigration issues. She's not been able to go and learn the language. The biggest thing that women talk to us about all the time is isolation, and it breaks their heart. The isolation makes them want their home in Israel more, makes them miss the sun. You know, the very simple things. They will talk, you know, they will talk about the weather. You know, like when things are bad, they talk about the weather. And I think it just further reminds them of their sadness. It can be dark and wet and miserable and gloomy here. And what they associate with home is, even if they're financially not in a better position, even if they've got their own issues with their family back in Israel, there is something about being there and making the isolation here far greater. So isolation is huge. And one of the things that we try and do, particularly since last year, is what can we do that's different from looking at the domestic abuse and sexual violence. So we've had several coffee mornings and coffee evenings and well-being days. And actually the majority of women that have come have been the Israeli clients. Sam and I did a focus group on one of the groups, and it wasn't intentional. We had 3 Israeli clients that came to this focus group, and they spent an hour and a half after we'd finished having a coffee and just talking. And you know,
it's about that network.
Yeah, they don't want to just keep being reminded of their circumstances and what they're living with, because they don't need that reminder. The fact that they are having to access a charity, the fact that they have no access to finances, the fact that they have little choice as to where they live if they leave the home at all. So doing these very small things and helping them reach out and speak to someone else and hearing them laugh, you know, it was so lovely, because in our main office, people were like, who are they? What? And looking around, and they were in another room. And they were loud and they were vibrant and they were happy, and they weren't going to be like that the following day. So it was like an hour and a half of, you know, helping us really see this is what these women want. Sadly, the majority of things that I see is hardship, is pain, is not understanding what their rights are, having his family try and be quite successful in turning the children against her, because again, she's isolated from her family. False promises of, you know, we'll go to Israel soon, we'll go to Israel, you can go for Pesach, and then she doesn't go, the children don't go. Or you can go, but the children stay. You know, the children become a huge pawn every time there is a hope of having that little bit of a break. We have so many women who, you know, they stayed at home, that was their role, that's what they wanted to do as well. And then when it comes to understanding the finances, when it comes to understanding or even being able to think about what they would like to do, how they could earn money, it doesn't happen. They have, most people in various parts of the community will be his friends, his family. So she also feels that, you know, if I leave the relationship, or everything is dependent. I think the messages, I could tell you lists and lists and lists of the impact, but the thing that always stands out for me is when I see a young woman always has a child who doesn't have the language, who's in no recourse, who is solely reliant on a charity, of people that she's never met, of parts of the community that are all for him. So she's really isolated. And I think if I went to anywhere in the world and I could not speak the language and I could not ask for help, how do I do that? You know, we have women that don't have a doctor's. He's never allowed them to register at a GP. The very basic human rights for us. We've had women who are told emergency services given different numbers. You know, the very basic things that everybody here in this presentation today would think, how does that work? How can you do that? But yeah, and we haven't even touched on the emotional impact. We haven't touched on the, you know, the physical and the sexual impact of what it does to them, to their body, to their soul. And they have to parent. And they have to pick themselves up all the time, and they have to write statements, and you know, they then have to start a different journey. But I think for us, how we see Israeli women is, it's not just what we can do in order to help them with the domestic abuse and sexual violence. It's what can we do to help them form their own community, to rebuild their confidence, to reach out to others within the community. Because the majority will end up staying in the UK. A lot always want to go home. Relocation is near impossible. If you have children and you're here in the UK, we've only ever seen one be able to relocate back to Israel. It's incredibly difficult. So we want to be able to help women form a life and build a new life here for themselves, and help them get over the weather and the sadness, and you know, but empower them to, you know, to build a life for them and their children, and that takes his power away when he knows that stopping her going to Israel gives him something. The minute that stops for her, the minute she's cutting his power, when that power's been cut, she's freeing herself more and more and more.
Should we go on to?
Yep.
Oh,
Maybe that's the last one. Oh.
We've got a few case studies taken from clients that speak to some of the work that Annette has been talking about. You can see them on the screen, but that power of control over children and feeling alone is paramount. I realise what we haven't necessarily talked about in this presentation is what we can do for women, and what JWA provides. So actually, do you want to talk a little bit about the services that we can provide and how we do help women to really take back control of their power and support them through all of the various difficult challenges? And then we'll talk about how you can support us as well. So Annette, do you want to talk about our services?
So we are a holistic service, and we are able to provide women with therapeutic interventions. So therapy for the children, therapy for mum, and parental guidance sessions. So we're able to really help her work through emotionally and gain her emotional muscle in order to deal with all of the practical challenges that she's going to face. We do constant safety planning throughout the time, from the minute she comes in to the minute she leaves. The safety planning will change all the time because risk is fluid. That will change all the time, from whether she's in the relationship to whether she's about to leave the relationship to whether she's in court. So safety planning runs throughout. We are able to provide lots of practical support around what her benefits entitlement would be, or if it was about in relation to a financial settlement from him. So we have a welfare advisor. We signpost everybody to that, do the referral. Just again, this is always about never telling a woman what she has to do or what she should do. It's always about, this is what you've told us about what you've been living with and what you've experienced. Together, let's look at what options are available to you. the more information a woman has, the more she's able to make informed choices, and then she can take the action when she's ready. So we'll help women access grants if they move, if they need to go into, you know, different accommodations, if they need to buy furniture. We will provide grants for school clothes for children, items for their homes, all various different things that they might need. We have a family court IDVA, so which is absolutely huge. From start to finish, there will be statements, that will be solicitors' appointments, finding solicitors, again, what her rights are, going and attending court with her. So again, literally from start to finish. We do healthy relations sessions. We help women actually understand what it is that they've lived with. We help women name the abuse that they're experiencing. That's also, it's very challenging to know that the person that you love or have loved or care for has chosen to do this to you, has placed you in this position. So we're always very careful as to, you know, how we help raise the awareness of what she's experienced, but also it's really important that every woman gains a greater understanding of domestic abuse and sexual violence. If women ever want to report to the police in the criminal justice system, of course, we would help them do that. We help women talk to their children about what they've experienced, both with the parental guidance and as well as support from one of the frontline IDVAs. It's really important that we help break the cycle. And that's not about damning dad or his family or this or that. It's about actually helping the child understand what we've been living with and why we aren't living at home anymore. And the importance of her healing. And that will be, and again, it could be simple things like accessing a GP, accessing, you know, worked with women that not got access to a dentist. So we do all of the practical things in order to go at a woman's pace. If she wants to come into the service, we can give her all of this information. She might not come back for 6 months. She might come back in 3 months. We are always going to be here, touch wood.
We're always going to be here.
Yeah. And it is the case of, that's what we say to him. When you're ready, when you're ready and you feel, okay, I can make this step, then you come back.
Yeah.
And when you come back, we will be here.
Absolutely. We also offer all women in our services up 1 year of free counselling, and there's play therapy and children's therapy for children as well. And the other piece of our work that's important for you to know about is we very much support all Jewish women and girls who've experienced abuse, but we're also out there really trying to create a community that doesn't tolerate abuse. So we work across the community in schools, in youth movements, in synagogues, community centres. You're talking about JW3, you'll see our toilet door posters there. We work across the community to ensure that organisations and community leaders know what domestic abuse and sexual violence is, know how it presents in the Jewish community, and know how to signpost to us, which is really important, and working towards creating a community that's safer for women and girls, which will ultimately make a safer community for all of us. That's a lot of us talking. And the final slide is about how we can support Israeli women. So, and then we'll open up for questions and stop screen sharing. For me, it's so important that any woman knows where to find Jewish Women's Aid if they need us. So as much as we can do any of these kind of conversations with anyone will have us, to make sure that any Jewish woman who would need us will know where to find us. So awareness raising, particularly in the Israeli community, because I know that this community affiliates in different ways and gathers in different ways. So that's really important. So you would know how to refer women on. Help us with fundraising. I'll talk about that a bit in a minute, or get involved as volunteers. I'm going to stop screen sharing and just talk a little bit about volunteering and then fundraising. So Annette talked a lot about the need for interpreters. We always need help with interpreting, and not just with Hebrew. Actually, we have women who speak different languages. So if anyone is able to help with either translating documents or other things, we provide very full training. But there are various different ways to get involved with us as volunteering, which is really important. The other thing to say is the reason we are able to provide the range and depth of services that we do is because of the generosity of the community. So if you went to another women's aid organisation that didn't have as much support as we have, you would find that the support you receive begins and ends at 12 weeks, whatever your circumstances are, which can be really, really difficult because of the generosity of our supporters. We work with women until they don't need us anymore. It's also really important that actually the goal of Jewish Women's Aid is not to be working with the women. It's really important that we give them their power back, and the power doesn't stay with Jewish Women's Aid. So our goal is always to walk with them for as long as they need it, but for that to have an end goal, because it's really important we give them power back. So I'm going to unequivocally say that it's really important to us that you help us to spread the word and raise awareness. But if you also want to help us fundraise so we can continue to provide those services that we all hope we never need, but if we did need, it's great to know that Jewish Women's Aid is there. We have a crowdfunding campaign coming up on the 30th and 31st of March. It's a very easy ask. We'll send you all the information you need, and you can just share it on WhatsApp, on your socials, and help us to raise awareness as much as funds. So that's my ask. Many other asks for you as well, but we have talked a lot. Please feel free if you have any questions. Also, if you have some questions for us that you don't necessarily want to ask us in front of the whole Zoom, you can either DM us on Zoom, or we'll share. I think we've shared our contact details, and we're happy to share them as well. So please hand over to you, and it's fine if you don't have any questions as well. Any questions?
I don't have a question while people are thinking. I just want to say that a few women came to me, approached me directly, who used your services. And then they said that they're sorry they can't log in, but to say to you a huge thank you. You helped them change their lives, and it was very emotional chat that we had, and said it was so important. We didn't know about Jewish Women's Aid from the beginning. Like they came to you like in the middle of it was the journey. So yeah, awareness it's a huge part, and also the amazing work you guys do. So thank you for doing it.
It's really important, and it's you know I often the other thing that's really important actually to say is that confidentiality is our bread and butter. So if a woman comes into our service, only the staff who are working with her will know she's in our service. I never know who's in our service. Only none of our other office staff know. So I very rarely actually get to meet clients. But I recently did a couple of focus groups with our clients, which was humbling and inspiring in equal measure. But also I kind of tongue-in-cheek said to Annette afterwards, did you script all of our clients? Because the work that we do, and I can really proud to say it, is phenomenal. Every woman said to us, I don't know where I'd be without Jewish Women's Aid. And we don't sit back and think, oh, well done, we'll stop keeping up the pressure. That gives us even more impetus to make sure we're always providing exactly the right services for any woman when she needs us. And I saw that there was a question in the chat around the support we can provide for victims, survivors of sexual abuse dealing with lung effects. I'll hand over to Annette for that.
So we have 2 ISVAs. So we have an ISVA.
An ISVA, sorry, just so an IDVA and an ISVA. An IDVA is an independent domestic violence advocate, and an ISVA is a sexual violence advocate. They've been through significant training in order to provide the frontline support.
Yeah.
We speak in acronyms.
Sorry, and I really hate acronyms. I use them all the time. So we do offer specialist therapy. So we have a specialist independent sexual violence advocate who works with all women who are victims or have been both current or historic. We do receive a lot of historic cases from when women were younger. We also support them from report to court. So women will come in, we will provide them, the ISVA will provide them with what their legal rights are. If they want to go to report, if they need to go to a specific RASO clinic, if they need
a RASO clinic.
Sorry, that's a it's a rape and sexual violence or rape and sexual assault. So they're something like the Havens. So we will go through all of what their options are, if they need to seek medical attention, or if they need to have any if they need to go and have anything checked out. if the woman wants to report, no matter what stage it is, we would do that with them, and that's attending the police stations that, you know, while she gives her video evidence. It's really, really challenging because the length of cases now is like 3 to 4 years for a sexual violence victim. In that time, she has limited access to therapy. So she can have 10 sessions, and those 10 sessions, it's ridiculous, there's no point.
It's the law. It's the law that
it's the
constrains
law,
us.
because everything that a woman says can be then used in the court process, the criminal justice process. So those 10 sessions are really just to hold her, if you like. So the ISVA's role is to emotionally support her and get her through the length it takes to the trial to take place. However, not everybody goes to court. If they don't want to access the support for the routes to court, that's absolutely fine. We do have several specialist therapists that work just with our victims who are living with sexual violence or sexual trauma.
Thank you. Any other questions? Jenny, thank you.
Thank you both. So a question, so 2 questions, and one, I know, going back to what you were just talking about, Annette, around sexual violence. So I know that women can often also come to you years after the attack or the assault, and they can also get support for that, right? And we know that after, especially 7th of October, many women were triggered. And so just, I thought that was important to say that that's something you can help as well, right?
Yeah. So there is no, you know, we have women in their 60s. There's no age limit. You know, October 7th triggered so many women, especially around sexual assault and sexual violence, and we had lots and lots of women that came into the service. Sometimes it was just actually to use the space to talk about it. It wasn't to do anything. And they didn't realize what it was that they needed, but something had happened. So it was just about, okay, we can talk through this. You know, this is your space to do that. But yeah, we do, you know, if it's historic, we will help women come to terms with it, and also how to prepare to move forward with it. So yeah.
Good, thank you. Netta's just asked a question around how and where we can support women. So we work across the whole of England, and we have an office in Manchester as well as in London, but thanks to one of the gifts of COVID taught us that we can do this and work with a woman wherever she is in England. So we work with women across the length and breadth of England. We can also work with women in Wales. There are slightly different laws because of devolution in Scotland and Northern Ireland, but we can signpost and support as much as we can. But we can and do work with Jewish women in the most extreme parts of the country. And actually that's probably also something else that has been triggered post the 7th of October, is that more Jewish women who might not necessarily have wanted a Jewish service have found themselves wanting a Jewish service, so they don't have to deal with the things. And I think probably even more so with Israeli women, that feeling safer coming to a service for us. There was another question around this is around the therapy. So the reason, just to reconfirm, and Annette will talk about what the therapy provides, if a woman is in the criminal justice system, her counselling notes can be taken to provide evidence. So there is really tricky what support we can do while that is out. That's not us. We're campaigning to get that. It should be thrown in the dustbin where it belongs. It's completely inappropriate and places far too much burden on the victim. But that's the law. But we obviously, if someone is not in a criminal justice system, we can support women for up to a year of free counselling, and if they are victims of sexual abuse, we have a whole sexual violence therapists who really are experts in that area, supporting that level of trauma.
Just on that bit, it's really, really, you know, punitive to being a woman who is a victim of sexual violence in the UK. The whole system is completely crazy, that even if we can't put on groups for women because if she was to share it, if Sam was a participant in the group and I was the victim of, going to court, and I was just talking to Sam about it, Sam could be called as a witness. She, the things that we shared, she would be asked about and have to provide a statement. So anything to do with a woman that is in the criminal justice system that's going to court, we have to be really, really careful. We write minute notes on what she shares because we do not want to give.
I think they're frozen.
Uh,
Oh, hopefully coming back.
Oh, hello?
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
now
you're
you're
back.
back.
it
Amazing.
must have frozen.
Oh, did we freeze?
You froze, yeah, just for a minute.
Telling us our internet connection is unstable.
I'm on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but if they're not in court, they can have therapy for up to a year or a little bit longer. And again, it is with a specialist therapist that they are trauma informed.
And also that, yes, there was a second part to the question about whether it's been something that's happened in Israel. We support women who have currently experienced or have experienced. There is no time limit on when the incident took place. We can support you. So absolutely, we are here for women who've got historic cases of sexual abuse and domestic abuse, or current as well.
Yeah. The person just needs to live in the UK
Yeah.
because it's about the laws of the land. It doesn't matter where, we have sadly women that have been assaulted on holiday. And they'll come back and we'll support them. So they just need to be here because of to make sure that we give them the correct information.
What's the best way to get in touch with you?
A very good question. So all of the information is on our website and we're happy to circulate it. We have a helpline that is open Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. in the morning till 9:30 in the evening. We have a web chat that's open at specific times as well, and by email. If anyone who phones us will be phoned back within 24 to 48 hours, often quicker than that, but 24 to 48 hours. And there's the website from Deborah, where you can find all the information.
Do you want to share maybe a slide? Do you have a slide ready with all the contact details?
Would have been a really good slide to have, wouldn't it? Thank you. We'll but I can share let me share our website, because that has it all there.
And it's also a great website.
And it's a great website.
Yeah.
It is a great website.
Okay, so I will just share.
You have a few more questions in the meantime. If you
Okay.
want.
Okay.
So this is our website, and it's also important for anyone who's not familiar with. There's a quick exit button on every page of our website. So if you are worried, you can exit the website quickly. But here are all of our contact details, very much on the front page: our helpline, our web chat, our email, and also if you are worried about somebody, you can phone and ask us for support and advice about how to deal with that. So the link to our website is in the thing. I'll stop sharing. There are a few more questions in the chat. Other than financial donations, yes, financial donations are wonderful, but there are plenty of other ways and that you can help. So one would be around awareness raising, helping us if you're different communities that you are part of, schools, nurseries, friendship groups. Let us come and talk to you. 1 in 4 women will experience domestic abuse. So that means that people in your circle will hear it. So help us to do that. Also, if you are happy to help with translation, that's really important. We have different volunteers who can help on our helpline. There's significant training to go through that. If we're always looking for volunteer counsellors. We're actually also looking. One of the things that really spoke to me actually after the focus groups was we really look after women's emotional and practical needs. But one of the clients who we spoke to, which saved me forever, she said that her mum had phoned her. She lived in America. And her mum said, "What do you need? I'm going to send you some money." And she said, "I need some pots and pans." She said, "I'm going to buy you some pots and pans, and here's a voucher for a facial." Because actually what you also need is to feel like a woman and to feel beautiful and pampered. So we are expanding kind of the range of holistic therapies as well and support we can provide for women. So we've got Reiki coming in, all different things, but anything like that as well. If people wanted to donate time or services, we're going to be doing, we did a Pamper Day in November last year. We're going to be doing that again. Probably we're hoping to do that twice a year. So if you have any gorgeous goods or companies that might want to support in that way, that would be a really lovely thing to do. Various ways, but yes, fundraising, feel free to kind of, I'll put my email in the chat, drop me an email, and I'm happy to come and meet and speak to anybody. Anyone who wants to get involved with JWA, we really do need you. So thank you. And was there another question? No, I'll put my email in there. Unless there are any other questions, thank you so much for taking some time over your lunch to be with us. I really hope it's been heavy. I mean, it's always difficult, isn't it, to talk about our stuff. It's not light, but it's important.
Yeah, and I mean, I think just to end it, you know, I could spend hours talking about the pain, trauma, and suffering, and the length of time that it takes for a woman to get to a better place. But what I can tell you is that we do everything possible from start to finish. It's not one individual that helps a woman get to the end result. It's a team. There is a team around her, and then there's a team around her children, and then there's another team outside. You know, like we would do everything we can possibly do. And that does mean also coming to the community. I've worked with women who will tell us, the community gave me financial support, this part of the community did that. It's, you know, it might be one man that's caused all this damage, but it's all these women, including all of you on this screen today, that help make it right again.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that's the positive for me.
Absolutely. No, in our work is really life affirming. In the most difficult situation. I saw that Netta asked if there's brochures and leaflets. Yes. If you want to send an email via Jenny or direct to me, my email is there. So one of the things that we do have, which has been going for a really long time, is a toilet door poster. So in most synagogues and community centres, Jewish buildings, there should be a toilet door poster in the women's toilets that explains how to access our services. Not all of us go to synagogue, so you might not have seen them, but if there are spaces that you think our toilet door posters should be, funny enough, I was at a meeting this morning, I was like, hello, you haven't got a toilet door poster. Would you like one that I happen to have in my bag? I literally do. So that's one way, but we can send you information. Follow us on social media because we have some really useful graphics again that you can share, but we'll send it to you. So please, you've got my email or contact via Jenny. Thank you so much. And I'm going to hand over to Jenny. Thank you. Jenny, you're muted.
Thank
We're
you.
not in 2020. Come on.
I could have talked and talked. Anyway, thank you, Annette and Sam. I'm always amazed about how much you're doing. And I know you're a small team, and yet you achieve so much. And your impact is just incredible. So thank you. And thank you to Dana, and thank you to Deborah as well. I don't know if she's still on the call, for helping. Oh, there you are, Deborah. Hi. For helping to set it up, and for Dana for working until the last second to spread the word about this event. So just to say that why JWA is important to me. So I've been in UK for 10 years. I'm Israeli, obviously, and I didn't know about them, or I heard briefly, but didn't really have kind of the details or the understanding about what they do. And then after 7th October, I helped to organize an event to raise awareness to the sexual violence that happened on that day. And it was during a time when all the women's organizations, all the feminist organizations were silent, including UN Women and other major organizations. They just didn't say anything, which was horrifying as a Jewish Israeli woman to me. And then somebody put me in touch with JWA, and we had a really good chat. They ended up supporting the event. Their staff members and volunteers joined with their beautiful purple bright signs. And it was really meaningful to know that there is a place where Jewish women are always welcome and respected, and they will always believe them. And they will, receive the support that they need in a way that is culturally suitable for them. And so I've been in touch with them ever since. And Sam mentioned all the ways you can help. I think there's a lot we can do. I think spreading the word is really, really important. So please, we're going to share the link to this event. Send it to anyone you know, whether it's women or men as well, because it's important that they're aware of this as well. Whether it's your neighbors, family members, colleagues, like 1 in 4 women. So you never know who might find this helpful. Volunteer if you can, help with fundraising because the demand is there, it's growing, my understanding is, right? And we know that particularly the Israeli community in the UK has been growing as well. And so the demand there is also increasing. So we want to get to as many women as possible and to really make sure that, there isn't a Jewish woman that is going through these terrible experiences of violence or abuse and feels alone. So we can help with that, and you can help with that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all for being with us. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice to meet you all.
You have a second, just I have an idea about something.
Yeah, sure. We'll just wait for
Yeah.
everyone to speak. Thank you so much, everyone else who was here.
I wanted to maybe suggest, do you have flyers in Hebrew?
We have Hebrew on some of our flyers, but we don't have flyers in Hebrew, I don't think. But
We are in the process.
So,
So we've just had to look at all the documents that needed to be retranslated, and
Yeah.
they were the important documents that we use in the service. And now we're about to look at just some of our leaflets. But what would be really, really great, helpful.
Oh, I'm so sorry. 1 second. My son is just finishing the Duke of Edinburgh.
oh,
Hey, Shalevi. Hey, אתם סיימתם? Are you done? Okay. Okay, I will leave in about 5 minutes. Okay, I'm just in a meeting. Okay. Yes. I will pick you up. Let me just call you in 5 minutes. Bye.
now I know what school
Okay.
you're at.
Bye.
Yeah.
Sorry,
now,
what?
now I know he's at JFS, but
He's
WZ.
at JFS, yeah.
My son's AB did the DV last week.
Ah, so they're like they said we should pick them up at 3:30. All
They
of a sudden,
finish early.
the WhatsApp group, they're like 1:30, everyone is
I
like
know.
ready.
Interestingly, so
Yeah,
that you can find.
funny. What I wanted to say is that maybe on the event for Independence Day, where it's going to be a large crowd of Israelis, it might be a good time to catch them and start sending some of the flyers. I don't know if you guys want to have a stall maybe, or have someone from who speaks Ivrit from your team who wants to come. And
When is the event?
It's I think the 1st of May. Let me just check. I've written this message so many times and I can't remember for the life of me.
The Thursday.
It's the Thursday, yes. It's exactly the day of the Independence Day itself.
Will you will you email me all the details and we'll see,
Yeah, of
we'll see if
course.
we can have someone to come and we'll think about flyers in Hebrew as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know if anyone might want to sponsor them.
It's a huge cost.
Sponsor what? Sorry?
Sponsor the flyers in Hebrew.
Who wants this for sponsor?
Would anyone you know want to sponsor them?
I'm trying to think. Everyone we work with is like organization like Vitzo and like the Israeli House. We can think about the Abaita Israeli. Maybe they would want to contribute. We can ask them. They're the only one with money. Them and WZO. Everyone else is like
we did another charity, but yeah, maybe
yeah.
to do that. But yeah, send me through the details and we'll make sure we can have someone there.
Okay. And also we can send me just a JPEG, like a digital one. I can post it on my WhatsApp and Facebook group, like pin it. So people can always find it if they need to. It's easier. I find it that even though when we live here for a very long time and they're very good in English, when it's a lot of information, it's hard for them to skip. It's better for them to read it in Hebrew.
No, absolutely.
If you need a hand in proofreading it or anything, just let me know. Just give it to me, I'll do it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Dana.
Yeah, happily. And also I wanted to ask you, they have as I said, I think they have a lot of women who come here and do like the master's degree in psychotherapy or all of these kind of things. I don't know if you want to, we don't need to do it like on a poster, obviously, but if it's something you want to think about and see, I don't know if you want to give them like some practical time, or like, you know, like they need to do like a bit of training, or if you want them to do it with you. I don't know. I'm just thinking out
No, it's
loud.
an
If
interesting
we have
idea.
women who do like acupuncture, women who do like massages, like therapeutic massages, all of these things. Some of them are still student and they need the hours to practice. Some
Yeah.
of them are fully
Mm.
professional and trained. So I don't know. It's a way to like
Yeah, no, absolutely.
think about it. Tell me what comes up. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, we'll definitely have a think
I'm
about it.
brainstorming with myself at the moment.
I love that. That's great. We're gonna leave you to it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I really
No,
appreciate
I know you have a
it.
meeting.
Amazing. Thank you
Bye, my
so
lovely.
much.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye bye.